discussing about how to manage your emotional needs. Madam is working as a clinical psychologist in the Department of Psychiatry at AIIMS.
Good afternoon, everyone. The topic that I have been assigned is about managing emotional needs. So I would say that most of you would relate to the issues that we are going to discuss because we are human beings. Emotions are essential part of our life. So how to manage those emotions? That's the agenda of my presentation. So when you talk about emotional needs are the core of our existence that we all need to fulfill to remain happy and at peace. That is the only requirement everyone wants, that I want to be happy and at peace. And also it helps in maintaining the balance. So what happens when these emotional needs are not met? You feel frustrated, you feel hurt, and you feel dissatisfied. So that's why it's important to know that how to fulfill those needs and how important are they. So understanding emotional needs can help you feel empowered to deal with various problems in life. It also gives you an opportunity to look at the imbalances in your work, relationship, and environment from a unique perspective. For example, whenever we have a problem, we start doing self blame. There is something wrong with me. मेरे साथ ही कुछ problem है. हम हमेशा मेरे साथ ही बुरा होता है. Instead of asking yourself, or instead of engaging into self criticism, you can ask yourself what emotional needs are not being met, or what action I can take to meet those needs. So if we talk about the basic emotional needs, we all have 9 emotional needs. That is need for security, attention, control, meaning and purpose in life, need for privacy, need for community connection, need for achievement, need for status, and need for intimacy. When I talk about adolescent and youth, all these needs are important and more connected to the peer group or to the friends and relationship they are in. They try to find meaning in their relationship. Their academic achievements are really important for them. They want to fulfill their need for intimacy. They want attention and security in their relationship, in their peer group. They want a status in their peer group. So what I'm trying to make a point here, that adolescent is a time when you're more dependent on your peer group, and most of these needs are being met by your peer group. So how can you relate to the emotions? What happens in adolescent? Before adolescent, you are dependent on your parents, but as the time comes, a stage of adolescent or young adults, they are more dependent on their parents. They are more emotionally dependent on their peer group. They prefer to spend more time with their peers, and peer interactions are increasingly unsupervised by adults. What happens that adolescents usually experience emotional distress in response to ambiguous and imagined romantic relationships. If you compare the notion of friendship while you are a child or when you are adolescent, so for children, notion of friendship focus on shared activities that we want to play with our friends. Friends are for playing, but for adolescent and young adults, the notion of friendship increasingly focuses on intimate exchange of thoughts and feelings. कि हमारे secrets हम share कर सकते हैं. I can share my feelings. So the whole idea of friendship and the whole expectations of friendship changes by the age of adolescent. And there are so many questions that adolescent ask, like what connects two people together in a love relationship? What enables every single human being to make decisions that are authentic to themselves? What makes life meaningful, or what motivates a person to move ahead? And what makes you feel happy? And answer to this question is single, that is emotions. How we handle our emotions and what emotions are associated with these questions. So as I already mentioned that most of the emotional needs are being dependent on the relationship, that too more on the romantic relationship, because adolescence is the first time when these romantic relationships typically emerge. Though romantic relationships during adolescence are short-lived that we all experience, however, their importance should not be minimized because the positive and negative emotions are more tied to romantic relationships or lack thereof than to friendship, family friends, family relationship or school. Like this becomes a this has become a social status कि मेरा गर्लफ्रेंड है या मेरा बॉयफ्रेंड है या नहीं है. So होना भी एक जरूरी है और नहीं होना भी एक cause of distress हो सकता है. Romantic relationships contribute to adolescent identity formation, peer relationship, emerging sexuality, adolescents' emotional and behavioral literacy. So you can see what is the significance of these relationships. They can shape overall your personality in your peer group, in your class, in your college, and overall in your life. So if we talk about relationship, there are two types of relationship: healthy versus unhealthy relationship. How will you identify that am I in a healthy relationship? Healthy relationship makes you feel happy, safe, secure, accepted, and respectful. Whereas unhealthy relationships instill feelings of insecurity, discomfort, a sense of uncertainty, and unhappiness in the company of another person. So, along with that, healthy relationships are mutually supportive, encouraging, and beneficial for both the people involved in such relationship. So, here we focus more on how to establish the healthy relationship. Before that, I would like to highlight what are the common reasons of emotional distress, specifically in relationship. Number one is poor adjustment skills. So, when you enter to the high school or to college, how you adapt to those situations, those changes, that will determine your effectiveness in interpersonal situation. Unrealistic expectations. Sometimes our expectations are not really realistic, that we expect people should understand our feeling without saying it. तो किसी के पास जादू नहीं है that people can know whatever you are thinking. Then trust issues. There are issues that you find it difficult to trust other people. कि कैसे विश्वास करेंगे, धोखा तो नहीं देगा कुछ गड़बड़. And then high sensitivity to criticism or rejection, that has become a real issue nowadays for youth. People are really afraid of getting rejected, and a small amount of criticism can increase the emotional distress. Next in the line is insecure attachment. You find it difficult to establish a secure relationship, and finally sometimes the relationship end up in breakup. So that cause emotional distress in young adults. So what are the skills that we need to learn and practice to establish healthy relationship? The first in the line is communication skill, then listening skill, conflict resolution skill, assertiveness skills, emotional regulation skills, and self-management skill. I'll be speaking about them in detail. So, relationship skills are the skills that students use in their day-to-day communication and interaction with other people, both individually or in groups. It's not only required in a romantic relationship, it is required in all the areas of your life, being a part of college fest, sports activities, interacting with other students, applying for a job, or establishing an intimate relationship. So, having good people skill, having good relationship skills can help you in all domains of your life. So the first foremost important skill of relationship building is communication skill. Why it is important? Because we have seen the main cause of emotional distress in relationship is lack of communication or miscommunication. And miscommunication is the basic interpersonal skill that every human being is required to master. And college time is the best time that can be utilized to polish these skills. And these are the general tips how you can improve or improvise your communication skill. Whenever you are trying to communicate with someone, try to create a safe environment so that other person are more willing to share whatever he or she wants to say. Keep healthy boundaries. Don't be too intrusive. Have realistic expectation. And stop focusing on being right. We cannot be right all the time, so we need to take other person's perspective. Listen to understand, not counter. So that has become a real important thing. If we listen with we try to listen to give the answer. If we listen just to understand and do not give any answer, sometimes people do not require answer, they just want a listening ears. Express empathy and respect. Importantly, that you understand what other person is going through. Use warm non-verbal communication. Whenever you are communicating with someone, it is important not only your verbal gesture, your non-verbal gesture should also get aligned with whatever you are saying. Identifying underlying issues. Importantly, someone may not come up with their underlying issues. They may go up haywire, but you need to focus what this person is going through. Be clear and to the point, and remember you are a team. So whenever you are in a relationship, whenever there is a conflict, we try to be on a different side. If you are in a relationship or if you are with someone, with friend, you are a team. Both of you are on the same side. If we take side or if we discourage the other person, the communication would not happen. Active listening is another skill that is required to establish healthy relationship. Though it seems as a passive activity because it involves silence. However, I would say which is not true. The active listening can be reflected through different gestures like maintaining eye contact, appropriate nodding of the head, verbal affirmation like yes. There are 6 key listening skills. The number 1 is paying attention, whatever other person is saying. Then withholding judgment. You are not supposed to judge whatever the other person is saying. You are supposed to listen and then reflect in your mind what this person is saying. If you are confused or if you are not clear with whatever has been said, you can clarify with that person. Then in your own word, you can summarize that am I understanding it right? And finally share whatever you want to say or whatever you have understood. So importantly, not only listening, the verbal communication, it is important to listen beyond words. Why? As we are talking about emotions, emotions are difficult to verbalize. Sometimes utilizing body language, facial expression, body gestures can help us to maintain the closeness of relationship. Non-verbal communication is has a big role in connecting people, relating people with each other, expressing their feeling and establishing a meaningful relationship in life. It can be improved by mastering our awareness about expression and interpretation of non-verbal gestures and physical space. Some of the examples are that communicate, body gestures that communicate disinterest and body gestures that communicate interest. Like if you are talking to someone and you are not making eye contact, so that person would say that you are not listening to him or you are not interested in that person. If you have folded your arms, or if you are yawning, or if you are fidgeting, or you are you are glancing at the clock. Whereas if whenever you are sitting with someone, try to be in a relaxed and open posture. Try to have an engaged eye contact, nodding of the head appropriately and appropriate smiling. Open body language and appropriate use of non-verbal communication encourage others to feel comfortable, safe, and establish a deep connection with you. The next come in the line is emotional regulation skill. The most important skills that we are going to learn today. That whenever we are in an emotionally provoking situation, maintaining calm and awareness about our own emotions and other emotion is a key to develop healthy relationship. So what happens in emotionally overwhelming situation? We tend to misread other people's emotion. हमें समझ में नहीं आता कि दूसरा इंसान क्या सोच रहा है या क्या दिखा रहा है, और इसी वजह से we send confusing signals to others that aggravate the chances of conflict and misunderstanding. So it is important that you learn to stay relaxed in an emotionally heating situation and try to communicate effectively. These are the 6 steps to handle the difficult emotion. Number 1, that you turn towards your emotion with acceptance. Yes, I'm feeling something, whatever it is. Then identify and label that emotion. Maybe I feel anxious, maybe I'm feeling sad. Then accept your emotion. Yes, I'm feeling anxious. Realize the impermanence of your emotion. This will pass. This too shall pass. Then inquire and investigate what are the triggers of that emotion. किस चीज से आप परेशान हो या किस चीज से आप anxiety feel कर रहे हो, and then let go of the need to control your emotions. What happens from the very beginning, we are told that the negative emotions you should not experience, but what we have experienced that we need to experience and accept all the negative as well as positive emotions. That's why there is a need to let go the need to control of your emotions. So it should go as they are. Other skills are self-management skills, like whenever you are in a stressful situation, try to identify the signs of stress as already mentioned in the first presentation: shallow breathing, muscle tightening, anxiety, raising heartbeat, etc. So once you know that, yes, I am feeling stressful, take a pause. Pause could be anything, that you take deep breath, you go to washroom, you want to wash your face, you want to recollect your thoughts, that could be anything during that moment, so that you can recollect yourself, then be specific about the issue and stay focused on one issue. What happens in relationship or whenever we are fighting with someone, कि आज की जो बात है वो तो है ही, but जितनी पुरानी लड़ाइयाँ हैं सब एक साथ वापस आ जाएंगी, that further worsen the situation. So try to focus on the single issue so that you can resolve that issue. And appropriate use of humor can help people lighten their mood and distract for some time. But importantly to understand, it is a good skill that you are able to use humor. But there are times when you are not supposed to use humor. Suppose a person is sharing very emotionally provoking, emotionally hitting situations with you, and you are trying to put up humor. So that becomes inappropriate. It is important to recognize other person's distress in an emotionally provoking situation. Then assertiveness skills are really important to establish healthy relationship, which is the ability to express positive and negative feeling in an open, honest, and direct way. It recognizes our right while still respecting the right of others. That we are aware कि दूसरे की भी कोई expectations हैं, and it allows us to take the responsibility for ourselves and our action without judging and blaming other people. So what is the benefit of assertiveness skills? To encourage effective communication as they incorporate both the sender and receiver's perspective during communication. So what happens in our day-to-day life? People get confused with aggressive versus assertive communication. जो जितना ऊंचा बोला जाएगा और जितना strongly बोला जाएगा, उतना जल्दी उसका effect आएगा. So that is not assertive communication. Assertive communication involves a clear and respectful expression of opinions and feelings without violating the rights of others. So what assertive communicators value themselves as well as others' needs and point of view. Whereas aggressive communicators try to dominate, criticize, humiliate, and control others. So learn to differentiate whether you are choosing assertive communication or aggressive communication. Try to be more assertive rather than be more aggressive in your relationships. So how to improve assertiveness? Express negative thoughts in a way that encourages respectful expression of your feelings and emotions. जब भी हम बात करते हैं, try to take other person's state into consideration. कि उसके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है. Suppose you have a friend, you want to spend more time with that person, but that person is not giving you much time. So you can say, I know you have been very busy with your studies, but I want you to make some time for us as well. And importantly, you need to learn to say no for things that do not align with your plans. Do not take everything on your head if you are not able to do it. So rather than taking it, try to avoid it or try to say no for the things that you cannot manage. Be open to feedback, as we like appreciation by others. If somebody is criticizing you, be open to those feedbacks as well, so that you can improvise yourself in your relationships. Then coming to the conflicts in relationships. Conflicts would happen wherever there are people. Conflicts are inevitable part of our life because we are individual and we are different in one or the other way. Students find it difficult to respond and resolve the conflict, so they try to evade themselves from the situation or blame the other person. They don't want to resolve their conflict, they just want to avoid the conflict. So what happens when it has been seen, जब लड़ाइयाँ या जो भी conflicts होते हैं उनको respectfully handle किया जाए, so the bond between two person get really strengthened and they grow in their relationship. So what are the common reasons of conflicts? in relationship. One is dependency. You have only one friend and you want to get everything, get all the activities, class में जाना, अपनी dinner करना, lunch करना, बाहर घूमने जाना. You're more dependent on that single person. That person find it difficult to accommodate all the dependency. Then over possessiveness. This person is my friend. She should not speak to anyone else, or he should not speak to anyone else. Then jealousy is quite common. Insecurity, that you don't feel secure. This person might cheat me. This person may betray me. And unrealistic expectation wherein generally students say, मैंने तो बोला नहीं है, but हम लोग दोस्त हैं, समझना चाहिए. Without saying, she should understand. But there is no way the person can understand without you being said whatever you want. So try to clearly say whatever your expectations or whatever your demands or needs are. And also poor accommodation with change. When people find it difficult to accommodate with ongoing changes in life. So how to resolve those conflicts? As I already mentioned, try to remain calm. Whenever there is a crisis situation or emotionally heating situation, learn not to react immediately or take a time out. Time out as you go away for 1 minute or 2 minutes from that situation, so that you do not react or do not give any emotionally that can further worsen the situation. Negotiation is another skill in which you try to find out a solution which is acceptable and convenient for both the parties. मेरी भी रह जाए और तुम्हारी भी रह जाए. So let's just find out a middle way answer. Avoid giving ultimatums. That is quite common. That अगर आप तुम ये नहीं करोगे, so I will do this. So kind of blackmailing. So avoid saying these kind of ultimatums to the other person, as this does not encourage resolution of conflict. Rather, it leads to worsening of the situation. That person would be more distant from you rather than resolving the conflict. Be willing to compromise. These are the fair fighting rules. We all fight with each other. We all have fights in the family with our friends. During fights, everyone wants to be right and win the arguments. But here, the importance is your relationship. Whether your argument or your winning is more important or your relationship is more important, that you need to prioritize. When there is an overpowering need to win the argument, then we don't understand, listen the other person. So relationships are more amenable when we prefer to find a middle ground or willing to make compromises. So always be willing to make compromises and avoid blaming. So it's not possible that every time we are right and the other person is wrong. And whenever there is accusations or blames, the other person would go into the defending mode. So don't try to do this or play this blame game. That usually happens whenever we are in a conflicting situation. Try to use more of I statements. Whatever you feel, try to put the facts. I liked it when you said it, or I don't like it when you said it, or I would prefer to, so that other person would say that you are saying it from your perspective. Here we use you did this, you do that, you always say like this. So try not to use this you kind of statements. This is very common for adolescent and young. Everyone has experienced this rejection, which is a horrible feeling. Nobody wants to have a rejection from anywhere. So being rejected by someone you love or want to be in a relationship is extremely helpful. Often fear of rejection can hold people back from truly being happy with someone. Because once you are rejected, you generalize that experience to other situations as well whenever you are going to establish a meaningful relationship. So how to handle this rejection experience? We cannot have a life without any rejections. Some or the other time we need to face this situation. Try to talk to someone rather than bottling up your emotions. Try to share your emotions and your feelings to someone. Give yourself time to grieve that this is a loss or this is the thing that I cannot achieve. So I need some time to overcome that. Understand the other person's reason why this rejection has happened. There might be some reasons. And what happens, the adolescent or young youth, they try to wait for that person. मुझे पता है वो वापस आएगी, उसको अपनी गलती पे पछतावा होगा या whatever their reason, they wait around. So it's better that you don't wait around, because Once you are waiting for someone, you are having expectation from that person. If those expectations are not fulfilled, you are going to have more emotional distress. So try to understand that I'm just trying to process this experience rather than waiting uh, for that person. Avoid talking to that person for a while. That can also help. Focus on your studies. There are times when we are more focused on one particular aspect of life, and we just ignore the other important aspects of life. So we can have focus on those things, focus on other relationships of our life, so that would help us in dealing with these negative experiences. Breakups, as I already mentioned, is quite common, which is further again handled with ventilation, where you share your feeling, you express your emotions to the one to whom you can trust, the one to whom you can feel that there is this person would understand what I am going through. What happens in students, they generally whenever there is a breakups, they went into drugs and other maladaptive coping strategies. So rather than going into these maladaptive ways, you can find out some adaptive ways to handle these difficult situations. And always remind yourself why the relationship was not right for you, because breakup would not happen when one person wants. It's just mutual decision that we don't want to continue with this relationship. So somewhere you have thought of those points why you want to do it. So try to remind yourself with those things. So whenever we are in a difficult situation, if we try to channelize our aggression or anger, then you can go for a physical activity or a sport that you like. That is a very adaptive way of dealing with the pent up frustration and anger. And also take appropriate time to heal. People wants to get away or get out from this situation very quickly, and they wants to start the new relationship so that they can overcome this feeling of negative as the relationship. But that has found to be really counterproductive. So be careful when you want to rebound. Don't be in a hurry to fill the void, whatever has happened. It takes time to process that situation. Starting a new relationship early will affect the complete processing of your experience. Sometimes people try to change the aura of their lifestyle by updating their wardrobe or just distracting themselves with some hobby or redecorating their room. Or if you find that you are not able to manage this with general strategies, you can consider therapy from a mental health professional. So far we have talked about what are the situation when that arises emotional distress, how to handle that emotional distress, and how to establish meaningful relationship, healthy relationship. But there are things that you can do that you do not experience this emotional distress. That is prevention. So one concept that we say is connectedness. Connectedness is basically a sense of belonging, being cared by your family, your friends, and the people around. People who are connected, they are less likely to experience negative emotions, and it has been found to be as a protective factor against high risk behavior for youth. And also, it has been seen to have positive effects on their academic achievement, regularity, and overall development. So how to promote connectedness? First and foremost important thing is be empathetic. Try to understand other person's situation, acknowledge others. What happens whenever we are in a relationship? We want maybe baat sun li jaye without considering the state of mind of the other person. Instead of bombarding the other person with your issues, you may initiate conversation by asking them how they are doing, how they are feeling, what are their hobbies, so that that person get a sense that you are interested in that person. Then they will try to connect with you in a better way. They will try to understand your issues as well. And also practicing compassion, that can be done by incorporating small acts of kindness, such as smiling, greeting others, give compliments, appreciating others, be grateful, and practicing forgiveness. Be non-judgmental. Non-judgmental is a state of mind where you adopt an attitude of an observer of life that accept the people, their behavior, situation as they are, without any judgment. I am accepting you without any conditions. So with this, I conclude, as we all discussed so far, that emotions are important. Why? Because emotions, our feeling influence our thought. It affects our behavior. That further leads to our overall experience. Whatever we do, that is driven or originated from the emotions that we are having. So importantly, to understand, acknowledging your emotional needs, expressing them in an appropriate way, and take responsibility of your action and emotional needs would help you lead a healthy life and having a healthy relationship.